Okay guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about the Viking Kayaks Profish GT. And if you have not heard about Viking kayaks, especially from our other videos, or if you've not seen one, come by the shop. You have to see these kayaks. They are a traditional style paddling kayak. They do not have pedal drives, but they are a fishing platform as well, with multiple rod holders and accessory mounts throughout. And we're going to touch on each one of those as we kind of review this boat and give you an overview of what's on it. But first of all, this is their 12-foot model. It's 32 inches wide. It's only 57 pounds in weight, which is one of the lighter fishing kayaks on the market, as well as can hold 386 pounds. And we'll look at the bottom of this kayak as well, because it is important to understand how this kayak maintains its stability while being a shorter package than, say, the Viking Reload. But let's dive in and take a look at this kayak a little closer. Okay guys, so we've got the Viking Kayaks Profish GT model upside down. This is their 12-foot model, and there's something very distinct about the bottom of this kayak. Once again, we've talked about most kayak shops don't flip their kayaks over and show you this side, but it is the most important side of the kayak because it dictates how you're going to feel in the kayak, how stable it feels. It's also important to understand that both the length as well as the width determines if your boat is stable or not. But then the design features on the bottom side can compensate for a shorter boat and maintain that stability. So the 12-foot model incorporates some very interesting designs, and you might be able to see them here in these recessed chines. So the reverse chine of this boat provides almost two pontoons on either side of the main body of the hull, which allows this boat to be very efficient, creating that rounded hull design that you're looking for in faster boats, but also very stable by providing you two pontoons. And the speed and efficiency of this kayak really comes from this carving out of the area in between, so you have less water contact, therefore less friction. Now, if you were to get in a 12-foot boat that had a flat bottom versus this style design, you're going to notice that you're very stable in the flat bottom when you first get in it, but it's a little more sluggish in the water, which is where that efficiency of this design really comes in handy. This 12-foot boat is designed to get you to where you want to go very quickly, but it's also a fishing platform, extremely stable even for a 12-foot boat. While we have this kayak upside down, I did want to point out two features on the bottom side of the kayak. The first of which is the bow of this kayak is nice and rounded, but it also has these two little lips on either side. If this was right side up, you would understand that it would catch the water and rise up over the top of those waves. Very different design from the Viking Profish Reload, which would slice through those waves and help maintain your tracking. What really helps with this boat's tracking is, again, those reverse chines. The water is going to sit inside these little dips on either side, as well as down the really heavy grooves of the keel to maintain your tracking. Even for a 12-foot boat, this boat tracks very well and doesn't have a whole lot of that spin that you might find on other kayaks. The other thing I wanted to point out is very similar to the Viking Reload as well, is that you do have that removable tackle pod, which comes all the way through the bottom of the kayak and allows you to move all of your cords. If this will rotate around, all of your cords and your transducer sits right in here, which I want to point out sits right in the middle of the boat. So if you're using side scan or even down imaging, it sits right between your legs. You understand exactly where the boat is in relation to your scan. Okay guys, just like last time, bow to stern, of course you've got your carry handles. We talked a little bit about the bow of the boat and how that grabs water up underneath and kind of lifts itself up over the top of the water as opposed to cutting through the water. It does provide for a little bit more of an up and down motion over the waves as opposed to the Viking Reload, which kind of cuts through the waves more. So you will feel those waves a little bit more in a 12-foot boat like this, but that ability to lift up over the top of the water and force that water underneath those chines that we talked about allows this boat to be extremely stable and maintain its tracking, or the ability to go straight. So let's touch on all the little features of this kayak. A great kayak for that intermediate water, even to the large water out on Truman Lake's not going to be a problem. This kayak's designed to handle that if needed. So we don't usually see that big of a wave break around here. But going through this, of course, you've got your carry handle. You do already have the mounts in there on either side for your anchor trolley. You have a very nice generous hatch, just like you did on the Reload. This opens up, and you've got a hatch that's open to the inside of the kayak. And if I get around here, you can see a little bit more. It goes all the way up into the nose of the kayak, as well as can reach back in past here. But I would usually block those, and so you can keep stuff in here. Moving back, it does have the upgraded foot pegs that are adjustable. And this is always one of those that I talk to people about, upgrading from a plastic foot peg that's molded into the kayak, upgrading to something that's adjustable. It's just going to make your paddle so much more enjoyable. It's got the same combing notches here for rods and paddle holding for going in and out of surf, but I usually find it's really great for just laying my paddle across here, and those little notches help hold that, as well as fishing rods if I'm just getting things organized as we go. Of course, Viking kayaks made in New Zealand. They're made for going out on those ocean coasts, and just all around great stable boat. It has the tackle pod again. You do have the option for the live well as well as the kids pod. So same version as what the Reload had. You can check out that video as well to see more of those two. But it does have the port going down for your cords to go to your transducer that we looked at on the bottom, and your 2 star ports from Railblaza. For those of you that have not watched that video, the inside of the tackle pod is just open all the way up into the front. And so you get that nice generous amount of tackle space for this kayak. Okay, moving on, you have some amazing handles here on the side. Different than the Reload as well. You actually have 2 hold points, as well as this being open all the way on the inside. So depending on if you have this loaded or the back end geared down with some stuff, you can also find your balance point anywhere in here, which I usually find is here towards the back of this, unless I've got some stuff in my tackle pod, and then you can grab here. But it gives you a place for 2 hands to go on it to lift from the side, which is fantastic and honestly a great design without sacrificing some of your rail as well. You do have rod holders, 2 on either side here, as well as 2 more right here behind the cockpit. As well as they do have 2 of the star ports here on either side that you can mount anything you'd like from Railblaza. I usually end up throwing at least 1 more rod holder on here. And then of course a net holder or a paddle holder, either one. It does have a single hatch port here, which is open with a cup. And then it is molded into the kayak itself. So there's no losing anything down in here. You can put this in here and it's going to be a true dry well. It does have a scupper hole in the bottom of it as well to help it drain if need be. But I find keeping this cup in it with my wallet and stuff comes in great. Even a first aid kit if you needed it. Anchor system if I needed that. That goes in there as well. You do have the 2 scupper holes in here to drain your seat area, as well as the pad eyes that you can see on either side for your seat itself. You also have the paddle dock here. You've got leashing points here if you want to, adding other attachments to it. And then of course we come to the back compartment, which can also hold that chill pod that we've talked about previously. And then the Viking GT does not come with a rudder attached. However, it still has all the attachment points for a rudder, as well as your drain plug and the 2 handles as well. So the really awesome part about Viking kayaks in general is that they are a small shop out of New Zealand, and the owner, Grant, really likes to listen to the paddlers who are utilizing his product, and he makes upgrades and changes to the kayak as they develop through time. One of the things that Viking Kayaks really paid attention to was the American market asking for some sort of metal aluminum seat. A lot of our kayaks come with those and allow us to have a longer, more comfortable ride in some situations. Now, we pointed out on the Reload before, and I'll point it out again here, that the GT and the Reload models of Viking both come with this really nicely molded area for sitting. And it picks up your leg and it lifts your knees a little bit allowing you to sit more comfortably and naturally, which also allows you to go longer on the water, as opposed to having your legs straight like a lot of American kayaks have, which required them to upgrade to the metal seats. However, Viking Kayak did come out with a metal seat for the Viking GT. Now, as you can tell, it is a bit of an aftermarket thought. However, it does fit really nicely. It comes with a Railblaza attachment in this box here. We've already attached one to this seat here just to show for demonstration purposes. It also comes with a starport mount that you have to add to this cover, but that's pretty easily done by drilling 2 little holes and putting the bolts through the bottom side. Now that those are in there, it also utilizes the 2 starports from Railblaza on either side of the seat area. And on the back of the seat, you can notice that there's also starport mounts. And so if I can do this without too much trouble, and just like that, locking them all in, then you have your aluminum seat on top of your GT. And I will point out that this is probably the only model so far that allows for that because of the stability that this boat provides you with those reverse chines on either side. You're not going to have that really unstable feel, even with what they call the high seat, which this really does lift you up quite a ways off the water if you happen to be sight fishing. Around here, that doesn't happen a whole lot with our muddy water, but if you do take this down south to Table Rock or even Beaver Lake in Arkansas, this would be fantastic for being able to sight fish a little bit more for some of those top water feeding fish. Before we conclude this video, I do want to point out that both the GT and the Reload come with the soft seat from Viking Kayaks. It does have a few extra features like these cup holders or tackle box gear holders on either side, but it's a really nice mesh seat that drains well and doesn't hold a lot of water. And as we mentioned, you can upgrade the seat as well as some of the other accessories from Viking Kayaks. If you liked this video and you want to see some other walkthroughs from around the shop, make sure that you like and subscribe to this video, as well as leave us a comment to let us know what you'd like to see next or if you have any questions about things. And of course, we'd love to see you here in the shop in Warsaw, Missouri, or check out our website at warsawsadventures.com, any of our social media as well. Until next time, I'm Luke with Warsaw Adventures, and I'll see you on the trail.